And so in Math 1 today, we're doing a visual intro to parabolas. And this is really just the same thing that you can watch in the video that I suggested to you, which from Khan Academy and Salcon, it just goes through and talks about some of these things that we're going to look at right here as well. Okay, so we're going to be looking at our screen here, we see we have different parabolas. And so the first thing that he wanted to say, you see in the video, is which way do they open? Okay, so this one opens up, right? It goes up, so it would catch rainwater. Okay, this one opens down, so you could pour water out. This one opens to the right. This one opens to the left. Okay, so we have those four basic directions, and we'll see why they tend to have this. So you see they're kind of have these orientations. And there's a fact about the fact that you're having this term squared that leads to this kind of symmetry. Okay, so then the next thing we notice is that there is in particular, so for the red one, there's this minimum point. There's a minimum point. And there's no maximum point, right? So the red lines go on up forever. And for the downward facing one, it looks like it's at the point 2, looks like it's at 2 minus 2, that it's its maximum. Okay, that's the most it can be. And there is no minimum, right? So it goes on forever in this direction and in this direction. Okay, and well, what about so the term that's used then is the vertex. So this vertex, the point at which the you might set a point at which the parabola reaches a min or a max, minimum or max, or there may be a point at which the two halves are. So you can see this kind of two halves. So you really see this in the green one, the right facing one. If you were to draw a line, you'd say, look, this line, the x-axis divides it in half. And there's a symmetry, right? There's a symmetry that you could reflect the side below over their x-axis, and it would come exactly on top of the one above. What about, say, this one? So then you say, well, look, the vertex seems to be on the line of symmetry. So that's the next thing you want to think about is, so on, say, the red one, okay, that vertex appears to be here at -1, 3, -1, 3. So I just went to Desmos and the graphing. So I say, okay, here it is, -1, 3. And in fact, there's, if you were to draw a line at x equals -1, it would seem to cut it exactly in half. And that seems to be that line of symmetry. And so we notice that, right, that the line of symmetry, this line that divides it in half, seems to go exactly through the vertex, the min or the max point. And there's that vertex over there, right? And you say, okay, yeah, here's that line that goes in. And that, so point, there seems to be this pairing, right? So this point seems to be paired up with this point, and they're on opposite sides of that line of symmetry. And then the other thing that I want to talk about just as our introduction to this is, well, what about intercepts? And so, for example, our downward facing one doesn't seem to go through the x-axis at all, okay? But it does go through the y. Okay? So it has one intercept to the y, no intercepts to the x-axis. Similarly, the red one doesn't. But you can imagine if we move this down, right, we could have a, let's say in orange, we can have a parabola. There it goes. It says 2, and this would have to go through 0, right? And so we could have x-intercepts as well. All right. But that's the difference that we have is that we can have 2 intercepts at the x-axis or none. Let's see there. So watch the video from Khan Academy as well, and then there's a really easy worksheet for you to do. We do have another lesson, so we're going to be working on the box and whisker plot as well. So we have to do a lot of data work as well to make sure that you are ready for the EOG.